tonight for a talk about the RAMCHAL. As we know, it's Lag BaOmer. So just before we start, a short word about Lag BaOmer. Is the RAMCHAL, you allowed to have music already for the night or only for the morning? You allowed to have music for the night or only in the morning? What's it? Mix as Yom Kippur. You can't cut your hair till the morning.
No, that's the cutting hair. So
we can have a record at the end. So that was the question. Why is it Lag BaOmer? Is at the end of the day, it's the day that Rashim Bar Yochai was nifter. Where do we find such a thing? Where do we find such a thing that on when a tzaddik dies, it should be a great day of great simcha? What's the great celebration? In the fact that Rashim Bar Yochai, the great Tana, was nifter on this day. Yeah, why should there be such a simcha on the day, at the end of the day, when a great tzaddik died? We don't find this in other. Pesach, you have an answer to this? What's the connection? Anybody want to volunteer? So the simple answer is not a full answer. Is that on this day, great secrets were revealed to Klal Yisrael. The great Sodus HaTorah, the inner hidden part of the Torah was revealed to Rashim Bar Yochai on this last day of his life, and they became the possession of Klal Yisrael. But then you could ask, well, why was it on the last day of Rashim Bar Yochai's life that he was given this great gift, these great secrets? Why didn't they come early in his life? What's still the connection between the day he died and this great gift of Torah that we had? So I read once, some years ago, that the whole Torah of Rashim Bar Yochai, which is the Torah we'll learn in a minute, because the RAMCHAL is a hemshech of Rashim Bar Yochai, and then the Arizal, and the RAMCHAL, the Lagan. The whole Torah, the source of it is Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva was, as we know in the Midrash, when Moshe went to get the Torah, the Midrash says the Torah wasn't ready yet. And because Hashem was writing the crowns, the tagging on the letters, it said, who are these crowns for this Moshe Rabbeinu? They're for Rabbi Akiva. The great Rabbi Akiva, in future generations, will understand the deepest sodas of the Torah, understand the mysteries of the crowns, the tagging on the oasis. And Rabbi Akiva was the Ikar Torah of the Rashim Bar Yochai, and the Zohar comes from Rabbi Akiva. But the Pri Tzaddik says, Tzaddik HaKohen says that there's a cloud, that when a tzaddik dies, and he dies as Rabbi Akiva did, in an unusual way, that he was tortured to death, not a natural death, that means his Torah doesn't yet become the Yerusha, the inheritance of Klal Yisrael. So when Rashim Bar Yochai, his great Talmud himself, had revelations when he hid 13 years in hiding from the Romans, so when he died in a natural death in old age, on that day it was guaranteed that this Torah Rabbi Akiva and the Torah Rashim Bar Yochai would belong to Klal Yisrael forever. It would be their eternal Yerusha until Yemei Gula, until the time of redemption. They would never lose this Torah, the hidden Torah, the secret Torah, the sweetness, the depth of Torah that was revealed to Rabbi Akiva and Rashim Bar Yochai. And so, as we know, that the Arizal, Arizal Luria, he lived in the 1600s, and he, most of his what he came to do was interpret the words of Rashim Bar Yochai in the Zohar, because the Zohar is written in a type of code, and the Arizal, he wrote down and explained much more in a very clear way the words of Rashim Bar Yochai in the Zohar, but still he was only allowed to reveal a certain amount. And as we explained last time, then the RAMCHAL came, and the RAMCHAL was considered to be the continuation of this chain from Rabbi Akiva, Rashim Bar Yochai, the Arizal to the RAMCHAL. He was given these revelations we learned last week, the completion of the Zohar to bring us to the Gula Shlema. So today I want to try and give over, especially as it's Lag BaOmer, and it's hopefully we have the skula of Rashim Bar Yochai, and SHL now the bonfires are going, and the light of Rashim's Torah is inspiring thousands of people. So I want to explain quite a few deep things tonight in Mr. Hashem, if we have Siyata D'Shemaya, to put them over in an understandable way. I think what I'll do is we'll stop after every 10 minutes, we'll take questions to sort of break it up a bit, so there's a bit of time for give and take. So the main issue I want to try and deal with today is, we know it says in the Torah, it says that Hashem created man. It says, "Na'aseh Odom b'tzalmeinu b'dmuseinu." He said, let's make man in our image, our representation. This is one of the most mysterious passages in Chumash. Hashem says, let us make man in our image, in our two words, Tselem and Dmus. Let's make man in our image. And he says he created man, but Tselem Elokim. It's a word, it's something we hear very often, that man is in the image of God. And you may have heard man's created in the image of God. What do you understand? Also, what do people normally understand when it says that Odom is created but Tselem Elokim? How do you understand that, Erez? Odom is created but Tselem Elokim. Because there's an inherent difficulty. Why? Because we know it's one of the 13 principles of faith. That Hashem has no image, no appearance, nothing graspable, nothing tangible. He's infinite. So how can we have the Torah tell us that man was created as the Tselem, as the image of God? It seems like it shouldn't be a statement that shouldn't be allowed. Because Hashem has no, ain't no Dmus. As we say in Yigdal, Hashem doesn't have a Dmus, he doesn't have an appearance. So how can Odom be created in the Tselem of something that's infinite and without any form? So probably you have an understanding of it. David, how do you normally understand this?
Good question.
In terms of his attributes that we can emulate to a certain extent.
Capabilities. His capabilities.
We have certain sort of very great capabilities, and in that sense, we reflect the Creator in terms
The
of...
Kedusha.
Huh?
The Kedusha.
But the normal way that people understand it is at best some sort of like, what is the best we can do? You don't take it literally. In some sense, man is the highest creature in the world, and he therefore has godlike abilities in a limited sort of sense. He can create, but we'll see, hopefully, that really there's a very deep understanding to this possibility. It's very, very deep, and it actually is a key to understanding all the times in the Torah when it talks about Hashem, and it talks about the hand of Hashem, the anger of Hashem, which also seemingly are difficult things to say. How can it say the hand of Hashem, the finger of Hashem? Hashem grew angry, Hashem was happy. Again, it seems, difficult statements. Hashem's infinite, is beyond the world. But if we understand, hopefully we will during the next 40 minutes or so, what it really means that man was created. But to Mus Hashem, we'll open up a whole new way of understanding the Torah for us. Hopefully we'll be so. So we'll go stage by stage. What I'm saying is basically a summary of a section of Das Tavunos, and a sort of simplified summary. So we'll go sort of step by step with various basic concepts. So one of the basic concepts you find in the RAMCHAL, if you hopefully you have a little bit of familiarity with the writings of the RAMCHAL, is that Hashem created the world. God created the world because God is the ultimate good. God is the source of all the ultimate good. And by definition, therefore, He created the world to give the ultimate good. He created the world as an opportunity to give the ultimate good. God is the source of good. Therefore, the creation of the world, the creation of us as human beings in the life we have, was the way to give us the greatest good. Now that might seem strange because the world, life has its ups and downs. Life's not easy by definition. We see a life. So how can this world be the gift of the ultimate good? So we're not going to go into this too much at the moment, just on a very simple level to understand what we're going to say afterwards. Is that man is given the task in this world of perfecting himself. We're created imperfect, and the world we live in is imperfect, and we're given the task of perfecting ourselves and perfecting the world. And in this task of living in an imperfect world and with negative drives, when we nevertheless rise above that and perfect ourselves and perfect the world, we earn the greatest possible reward. In other words, we're in this world of challenge, a world of conflict, an imperfect world, to overcome the challenge, to perfect ourselves, and so doing to create merit. And by having free choice and the task of perfecting ourselves, it means that when we overcome challenges and we make ourselves into a better person, we perfect ourselves and perfect the world, we gain so much great merit that in the second stage, in stage 2, when we reach the eternal world, we'll be able to come as close as possible to Hashem. Now, by living in a world that is imperfect, with the task of perfecting ourselves, we have the choice either to do good or not to do good. When we choose to do good, we choose to serve Hashem, we choose to improve ourselves, make ourselves better, to make the world a better place, we acquire incredible merit. An individual, for example, no one of us would want to go through, God forbid, the horrors of the Holocaust, God forbid. But on the other hand, if you think of an individual, some of the great individuals, the Klausenberg Rebbe, the Santa Rebbe, who went through the horrors of the Holocaust, and yet they remained with an absolute faith in Hashem and got through such an experience to bring thousands of people close to Torah. The merit of such a person's life, what he's achieved, his emunah, his unbelief, he couldn't have got there any other way. So when this world falls away, he's created such a merit, such a spiritual power that is like pulled like an elastic, like amazing power towards Hashem, because he's perfected himself. Again, this is a whole area of which is not the main thing I want to talk about. But all what I want to bring out from this is that it's part of God's plan that He should make us imperfect and in an imperfect world, with the task of perfecting ourselves and perfecting the world, so that we can acquire great spiritual merit, and with that spiritual merit, we can, in stage 2, in the eternal world, come closer to Hashem than would be in any other way possible. A malach is created perfect, but he doesn't do anything to earn his perfection, to make himself perfect. It's just given by Hashem. He can't earn merit because Hashem makes him who he is. We are given the possibility to do good or not to do good. It's about when we overcome all the challenges to perfect ourselves, that creates an incredible ruchni, a spiritual merit, and that's the gift Hashem gives. So, as we say, Hashem, for these purposes, He created us imperfect in an imperfect world. What we're going to look at is a little bit of ourselves, the human beings. How a human being is made up of a combination of body and soul, of guf and neshama, and we're going to see, as I said, in a deep way, how man's structure, his body, his soul, how we're created, mirrors the highest spiritual forces in the world, and through this we'll understand how man, in a very deep sense, is the image, the tselem of Elokim, what the Torah means when it describes man as in the tselem of Elokim. That's our task. Okay, so the RAMCHAL describes, and it's clear, I think, to all of us, that man is a composite being. Man is made up of a guf and a neshama, a physical body and a spiritual soul. We're like a composite being consisting of two opposites. We have a body which is something limited and very physical, and we have a neshama which is something very powerful and very elevated, something of enormous spiritual elevation. So you don't find in any other being such a contrast. Yeah? A malach is pure spirituality, an animal is an animal. Man is a total contradiction. He's got this amazingly powerful spiritual essence and his lowly physical body. We are a composite being. So the RAMCHAL says that this combination of body and soul, the effect of the body is to draw us down and to make us subject to all the negative desires we have, all the pulls towards selfish negativity are all caused by the physical aspect, the body. And the neshama really is desires to go back to its source. And but the neshama, although it comes from a hugely high source, it comes with incredible spiritual power. Its power is held back and confined in the physical body for our lives in this world. If that didn't happen, the neshama is so powerful that it would just totally purify and elevate the body. We wouldn't have free choice. To have free choice, the power of the soul has got to be held back. The spiritual power of the soul has got to be held back and limited, put inside this physical cage, as it were. This physical cage pulls us left, right, and centre. This desire, that desire, all sorts of things that potentially destroy us. And that's the situation we're in, with this high spiritual essence, which is the neshama, locked inside a physical box, as it were, that pulls us away from the source. And is the source of all our negative desires and all our... Yeah, but that gives us what we need, because we say we need to be in a situation of challenge, we need to be imperfect, we need to have the task of perfecting ourselves. To be in this situation of having the task of perfecting ourselves and acquiring this unbelievable spiritual merit which will enable us afterwards to come close to Hashem, we have this conflictual existence. Yeah? We have a body and a soul. This neshama that comes from Tachas Kisei HaKovod, in front of the throne of glory, from such a high level, and this lowly guf which pulls us down and makes us think about ourselves and wants only for ourselves. And that's the conflict we're in. And really, the task of the neshama is not just to keep us. The main task of the neshama is not just to keep us alive for these 120 years in this temporal world. The task of the neshama is to purify the guf, elevate the guf, till neshama and guf together can exist in all eternity before Hashem. Now, as things are now, we'll have a break in a few minutes to ask questions. This is a three-stage process. If you think about those three stages, there's when the neshama is first attached to the guf in the life in this world. That's stage one. Stage two is when your 120 years come to a close, and then the guf is put in the ground. The neshama goes to somewhere called Olam HaNeshamas, or Gan Eden, and then you have stage three, when the soul and body are reconnected together, and this time the neshama, with all the spiritual merit, spiritual power that it's managed to gather through the mitzvahs and the merit in this world, when it's rejoined to the guf, when it's the time of the resurrection of the dead, it can achieve its true task, which is its spiritual power elevates and purifies the guf more and more and more, until the guf itself becomes something almost ruchni, and the soul and the neshama, the neshama and the guf, the guf becomes such a high level that it can also exist for all eternity in closeness to Hashem. It's a three-stage process. Yeah? Neshama and guf in this world, then they're separated temporarily, and then they're brought back together again for the neshama to carry out its true task of purifying and elevating the body, till the body itself can live for eternity. And we'll see these ideas, hopefully, a bit more specifically towards the end.